Good evening, everyone. I'm Kate Charter, Chair of the Historic Districts Commission, and welcome to the July 8th, 2026 meeting of the Town of Concord Historic Districts Commission. The commission will review two new applications, uh, minutes under other business at the end of the meeting, and a continued hearing in between. We are conducting this meeting online in accordance with the Commonwealth of Massachusetts Executive Order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law. The public may access this call through both telephone and video conferencing. Members of the public will have an opportunity to ask questions and provide public comment on applications and discussions following the petitioner's presentation and questions from the commission. To do so, please raise your hand in the participant function of the Zoom meeting platform. If you are calling in and cannot use the platform, you may raise your hand by dialing *9. Our host will mute microphones of those not speaking, and in order to preserve bandwidth, may need to turn off video, with the exception of the commissioners, the host, and the current applicant. The chair will call on commissioners for comments on an application and then open the meeting for public comment. Once there are no more public comments, I will ask for a motion from the commission to continue, to approve with conditions, or to reject, and then a second, and then conduct a roll call vote. Once the commission has acted on an application, the applicant is free to leave the meeting. I'll do a roll call for members tonight. Let's see, who's up on my screen? Jeff Young, mute, but I see you. Tim Whitney,
Here.
Walter Clay,
Here.
Bill Hewitt, mute, but I see you. Kristen Dahlman.
Here.
Yeah, okay, great. And voting members this evening are Tim Whitney, Bill Hewitt, Walter Clay, Kristen Dahlman, and myself. And let's see, I'm just going to say that, sorry, with the short work week of last week and HDC staff out this week, lost in the shuffle was our intention to honor Mimi Graney's request that her continuing application be heard first today, which we try to do when practicable on town matters, but we were unable to revise it today in time. As it stands, just two new matters will be heard first, and other business will be heard after the town application. So without further ado, if we could start with 100 Kais Road, Myra Harrison. You here? Let's see who's representing her. Scott Thayer? There you are, Scott, and you are muted. There we go. Still muted.
How about now?
Not muted now. Excellent. And we see you.
Good, thank you.
Thank you.
As you stated, my name is Scott Thayer. I'm representing Myra Harrison at 100 Kais Road, unit number 106. Are proposing to remove the existing patio door and related transom and replace it with a Anderson 400 series sliding door transom unit in the same configuration as existing. We will replace the exterior trim and paint it to match the existing building decor.
Have you ever done this before at this building, Scott, by any chance?
A couple of times before, yes.
Okay. Uh-huh. All right. Commissioners, we've seen this one a few times. Does anyone have any questions about it?
For the record, same materials as always.
Same materials as always, yes.
Okay.
Thank you, Walter. Let's see. Anybody else with a question for this?
No.
Okay. Well, I'm going to open it up to public comment to see if anyone has any questions about the patio door and transom update at 100 Kais Road, Unit 106, which is something we see quite frequently from this building. Okay, no questions from the public. So I don't think the commissioners have any questions. So could we have a motion for this?
I move we approve the 100 Kais Road submission as submitted.
Great. A second, please.
A second.
Thank you. And we will go around for a vote. Kristen,
Aye.
Walter,
Aye.
Tim,
Aye.
Bill,
Aye.
and I am an aye. So that application passes. And thank you, Scott, for coming before us. And good luck.
Very much. Good evening.
Thanks a lot. Okay. Nice. Okay, good. It's after 7:05, so we can go to the next item. And that is, I saw Peter Douse Haberle for 242 Lexington Road.
Yes, hi, I'm Peter Dodds Haberly, 63 North Hancock Street in Lexington, and I'm representing the homeowner at 242 Lexington Road. It's basically looking to restore the exterior of the house in a number of ways. And what I'll do is I'll share some photos and stuff.
Just need to make you a co-host for a second,
Okay.
or you should be able to do it now.
All right. Thank you very much. So I'm going to apologize for all the scrolling, but just to get through all the photographs, I scroll back and forth. So this is the house at 242 Lexington Road, which I'm sure you're all familiar with. It was built in 1911, a nice example of colonial revival. It needs a bit of work on the outside of the house in a number of ways. Basically, the siding on one side of the house, as is typical, is in really rough shape and needs to be replaced. The siding on the other three sides of the house is fine. There's some trim here and there that needs to be replaced. And then one door, I'll show you that. And so I'm just going to scroll down. Here's another view from Lexington Road of the house. So this gives you an idea of what you can see from the public ways. And this is from Cambridge Turnpike, from the back of the house. And that gives you an idea of what's visible from the two roads that it's abutting. Here is a floor plan, and basically, so I'll just run through a couple of things that we're looking to do. One is the siding on this side of the house would be replaced. It would be replaced with R&R red cedar shingles painted to match the rest of the house. At some point, somebody took off the woven corners and put on corner boards pretty awkwardly in this corner and that corner. So those corner boards would be taken down. They don't match. They're not the same. They're not even the same width as each other. Taken down and shingles rewoven. And then the siding on these three sides of the house is fine. I mean, there's a few spots where some shingles need to be replaced and repaired. So that's will happen as well. I was working with the homeowner, and I'm happy to see that he is, doing a fairly soft touch on the building. He's not looking to add any big additions. Basically the goal is, we're not moving any windows or door locations. The goal is really to have it, nobody to know that it had been renovated or restored when we're done. We are looking to add a patio back here for the new occupants, and at the same time take away some of the driveway, because it's quite a large driveway, bigger than needs to be back there. It looks more like a parking garage. So we're going to take away a little bit of the driveway. The rest of the driveway is in good shape, so it'll stay. The other thing that's happening on the outside is that the bottom of this existing side porch is in really rough shape. It's, sort of run-of-the-mill lattice work that's all warped and bent. So that will come down. And then we were looking to put up a new skirt around the porch. But basically, the porch would stay as is in the same location. And it would just get a new skirt here. I'm looking at doing 1x4 painted pine vertical boards with a 1 inch gap between them, and then all this will get painted. Right now, there's a granite step at the bottom, and the homeowner would like to replace that granite step with there's a concrete step, and he would like to replace that with a granite step. So I think that's a good call. Part of the other things is to bring the house up to date as far as HVAC and energy consumption. And one of the parts of that is going to be adding new heat pumps, a new heat pump system for it. Originally, we were looking to put the two heat pumps, one here and one here. We were able to move both of them behind the house, which is better from the street on Lexington Street. And basically, I'm going to scroll up here. You can see that those would be down here below this shrubbery, so you would be very difficult to see from Cambridge Turnpike. So I think that that's a better option for the locations for those. So we have that. And then what we were going to do is to add a screening fence that basically matched the new skirt of this porch around those heat pumps. So one here, and then I think the other heat pump's going to go here, or is going to go here. But we would put that screening fence around those as well. This gives you an idea of the existing house and property. Driveway, and this is where we're cutting off a lot of the extra driveway here. Then for the patio, we were looking to do a bluestone patio, pretty straightforward, thermal top on it, with a cobblestone border. So something along these lines here. And then the one other thing that wasn't on the original application, but came up as they were working on it, and wanted to see if we could possibly include that if possible, or we could come back if need be. This is the door on the second floor. So all the doors in the house he's going to restore, but the door on the second floor of the house is in really rough shape. You can see right here where it's I don't know what's been done to it, but he'd like to replace this door. We're looking to replace this door with another 9-light over 2-panel, a fir door in the same frame. And that's the spec here on this fir door. We're going to spec a shaker style sticking for the lower panels, so that we can add a molding like this, so that it will match what's there now. And the muntins are very plain, as you can see, so that will work with those as well. One other thing that we need to do is he's renovating the kitchen and the bathroom, so there's going to be some vents added around the house for venting the bathrooms and the plumbing. So there's one plumbing stack back here that we're going to eliminate, and we're going to be adding a new one here. And so that would just be a black pipe, like this black pipe here, a new stack here. And then there would be a 5-inch and a 5.5-inch by 5.5-inch vent for a bathroom here and a bathroom here. And there's one on the back of the house and one on this other side, which I'll show you in a second. These vents would be the kind that have louvers that are most of the time closed, and then when the vent comes on, they open up, and then when it goes off, they flap back down, and those would be painted to match the shingles. It works well because the shingles are a 6-inch exposure, so the 5.5 inches will fit in right there in siding reveal. So this is on the other side of the house, a 5.5 inch by 5.5 inch vent there. And then on the rear of the house, there's going to be two, one up here, and then one inside this porch here, underneath this as well. So those would be the vents for the house. And then the big thing that he's really committed to doing is updating the house as far as the HVAC is concerned and the energy consumption. So he's looking to not change the windows, but change the sash. And what we did was we had originally we were thinking of looking to do Anderson 400 series replacement sash, which is pretty good. But we found actually a company that produces a nicer sash. So this is a company called Trimline Windows, and they basically specialize in historic sashes. So these are all wood sashes. And what's nice about them, as opposed to the Anderson 400, is that they don't cover up the parting strip, and they don't cover up at any of the windowsill, and they don't. So basically, what you see is just the new wood sash. Everything else, all the rest of the trim stays as it is. So here's some photos from the Trimline catalog showing you what they look like. They do a lot of historic buildings like this, but they also do residential buildings like this. And this is sort of a view of one of their windows, and you can see the wood sash there with the simulated divided lights. So that's what he would be looking to do. And they do a nice job, restoring, building these windows historically accurately. So this is a cross section of the replacement sash. There's a sash liner and then a weather strip at the top and at the bottom. But basically, visually from the outside, you don't see anything except for wood. And so these are all wood double hung sash. And then these are the specs from the Trimline windows.
Who are changing windows.
I beg your pardon?
I think that must have been a mistake.
I'm sorry?
I think that was just an error, Peter. I think it was someone's
Someone
microphone.
wasn't on
Oh,
mute.
okay, I see.
I apologize. That was me.
That's it. Yeah.
I'm a
So,
little delayed. We just had a baby, so I'm a little delayed. I'm taking care of the kid. I'm the homeowner.
Oh, okay.
that's
Sorry.
Jonathan Alex. Sorry, that's the homeowner. My apologies.
Okay.
Yeah,
I apologize.
so he is committed to bringing the house into, basically the standards that Concord is looking for as far as energy conservation and appropriate energy usage. The windows in the house. So he got a HERS rater to come in and do a blow test on the house, and he sent those HERS ratings to the board, and so that you can take a look at it, and that compared, what it would be with the existing windows compared to the new windows. So they put a blower on the house and they test for how drafty it is and versus what the new windows would be like. So that's he's not required to do that for a project of this size, but he did go ahead and do that just to get that going. And then he is, obviously wherever he is taking off walls, he's, bringing it up with, new insulation and everything. So, he's and with the new HVAC, he's going to really bring it up to the standard that Concord is looking for, or I guess we were all looking for at this point. So that's that. And the existing windows, they have machine milled parts. They're certainly not as interesting as or significant as the other homes on American Mile. This house is is older, but it's, 150 years younger, maybe even 200 years younger than some of the other houses on that street. So, certainly there are windows on that street which were handmade. These were, machine milled parts. So they're not, there's nothing terribly significant about them. They have a very common light pattern. But we would match the existing light patterns, and we would, with these all wood windows, they would look very much like the existing windows. And then one of the nice things too is, getting rid of the, as this homeowner is, interested in, like for instance, he's going to take off the existing storm door on the front door and just restore the existing door, which is actually in good shape. But things like that where you really, that's really where the exciting part of the building coming from. So that's the kind of thing and that we're looking at doing. So he's also looking to paint the house, and he's included some paint chips, and I've got the paint colors here if anybody wants. I can tell you. Unfortunately, it's coming from it's coming from California Paints from their historic colors, which is great. But unfortunately, California Paints doesn't allow you to download those samples. For a presentation like this, I guess they think it's not going to come across as well as a real paint chip. So we did turn in some paint chips in person. The existing gutters are going to stay the same. The existing downspouts are going to stay the same. And that I think that pretty much covers it. So I'll definitely take any questions you have.
So
Oh,
it looks
I'm
like,
sorry.
sorry.
There's one more thing was that, I don't see I have it here. We were going to change the front light on the front porch.
Mhm.
And I can get a photo of that to show you as well.
Yes, we would want to see that, but I think I saw something mentioned that it is dark sky compliant.
It is dark sky compliant. So if you give me 1 second, I will share that with you. Mm. So this is the new light for the front porch, and this actually is nice because it actually is almost an exact duplicate of something from the Sears catalog from 1918. So it's very appropriate for the house.
Mhm. Peter, I noticed on the Energy Code Advisor's letter
Yes.
that it said the house dated from before 1900. And they're judging that from a fieldstone foundation, but you had said it was 1911, and it looks more 1911, as does the front door. So
Yes.
is the foundation representative of an earlier structure?
No, actually not. I mean, it is the original foundation. I'm not exactly sure why they have a fieldstone foundation, but I went back and checked. There's a little bit there's conflicting reports there. It's either 1911 or 1912 for the original house.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I can go back to the presentation.
I was just, I mean, it's still 20th century, doesn't matter.
Right.
Did they build the foundation and then wait 10 years to put a house on top of it? Maybe.
Maybe.
Or maybe they just dug and found a whole bunch of stones and said, hey.
Yes, exactly. That could be
Foundation.
definitely.
Well, those all look like great things for that house. I drove past it today on both sides. And it's going to look great. Tim, since you're the one on the commission who's most recently added little, what's the word? Little pipes. What am I saying? To your roof.
That's
Vents. Thank you. Did everything look okay there to you?
Yeah, Peter, just a couple of quick questions.
Sure.
Do you have storm windows on there now?
Yes, there are storm windows on there now.
And the replacement windows you're talking about, it's truly a sash set in the existing frame
Yes.
with weather stripping added?
Yes, it's basically the sash liner is new, and then there's weather strip at the bottom of the sash and weather strip at the top of the sash. But the weather strip at the top of the sash is not visible because the parting strip is in front of it, and the weather strip at the bottom of the is not visible when the window's closed. I think you
Right.
probably could
Okay.
see it when the window is open.
All right. And anything going on with the shutters? The shutters don't look like they're quite dimensionally appropriate. Are you just leaving those or painting them?
Yeah, actually, that was a discussion that I was having with the homeowner as well. To see, we're trying to find out if they are original to the house or not, and whether we would keep them or not is something that we would bring back in front of the board at some point.
But for now, you're just leaving them, right?
Could
Yep.
we ask
Okay.
about removing them now? And then if we want to leave them on, we'll let you know. Is that okay?
I'm sorry, say that again.
Could we request removing them for now and then
Oh,
come
sure.
back?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the concern would be if you were replacing them, that they make sure that they truly fit the window.
Sure.
I don't know if they do now or not. They just look a little narrow for, that when they close, they should come together. But if you want to take them off, and make that part of tonight's application, that's fine.
Yeah, I think we would because for instance, this nice window in the front doesn't have them happily, but the rest of them are, like some are screwed on and they're all basically some are
Right.
nailed on and yeah,
So
you're
sort
right.
of faking it.
Yeah, like you would never put shutters on this double window. This doesn't make any sense. So I agree with that.
And is there only one light I noticed there's a light over by the side door on the left in that photo, and you're not replacing that?
No, just the light inside the porch here is pretty poor example of a light. So yeah, so the rest of the lights around the house we're going to save. They look nice, they look fine, and this is the side porch where we're going to put a new skirt on it. You can see that the skirt that's there is barely hanging on.
Yeah. So I think that, the question has to do with, for the commission, is the preservation of the windows. I think there's been remarkable. This is probably the most light touch we've ever seen on a house. So
Yeah.
we commend you for that and the care, and I liked your presentation. And also finding these windows that are just sash replacements that, so obviously if you put those in, the storm windows come off. This house
Yeah.
is set back a ways from the street. So I'd say generally, we're pretty hard nosed about keeping existing windows. And if you have to deal with storms, you have to deal with storms. I'm 4 doors down the street. That's what I have. I've got storms on.
Right.
1920s double hung windows. It's just kind of the nature. So,
Yeah.
but given the care you're doing, I'd rather just open it up to other commissioners and see their thoughts about that before we take the ultimate hardline approach.
Thanks, Tim. Let's see, Peter, are you done? Because then I'll open it up to the commission. I mean, I'll ask other commissioners now too. Walter, you had your hand raised?
Yep.
Just to confirm, so you're going to lose the storms on the windows of
Yes.
our house. What about the existing storm doors? I understand you're going to redo the front. You were
The
showing
storm doors are going to come off.
on the second floor.
Yes.
Up there and on the side.
Yes.
Okay, that was the other question. I was wondering how visible the cobblestone border is on the bluestone, but it looks like it's all ground level and not in play whatsoever.
Yeah. You wouldn't see it.
Not gonna see it. Okay. The other thing is you should know that if you are claiming that the heat pumps are going to be obscured or shielded by the vegetation, that will become part of the approval, right? So
Okay,
you'll need to keep those in place.
okay.
Lee?
Isn't excuse me, Walter, the new heat pumps you've got shielded by new fencing
He's talking about
Correct.
moving around to the back of the
on the back, right?
and mentioned that they're behind the vegetation there.
Yeah, I think that's kind of because of the topography of the land. It's up and then it goes down, and so they're going to be kind of lower. So I know what you're saying because
No,
in the
but
wintertime,
you're counting on the vegetation to provide the
No,
shelter.
we're counting on the fencing
You're putting
Yeah.
fencing in there. Okay.
Yes,
There's
we
this
are,
fencing
and
that's
bolted.
going around it.
Okay, very good. Then forget what I just said. And you dropped paint chips off, and just to commissioners, we can
Hmm.
theoretically have that as an administrative approval.
I think so.
I mean, you can go look at them. We can sort of have them be held, and you can go. I mean, we do that sometimes. It's a white body. The trim is semi-gloss, and the body is eggshell.
Yes,
Yeah, so no great surprises, I know.
right. No, it's pretty straightforward.
Do you know
Did
the
we-
color, the
It's
California paint color?
the California paint color is basically it's sensible white, and it's flat on the trim. I mean, flat on the siding, and then it would be semi-gloss on the doors and the trim.
What say
Of course,
you?
the front door is going to just be clear coated.
Okay,
The wood. Mhm.
Yeah,
so it will be white. Basically, the house will be white.
it's exactly right.
Okay. That's probably more traditional. But as far as removing those storms and putting in the new windows, I think that's that's an improvement. Get
Yeah,
rid of the aluminum storms. I mean,
yeah,
they're on my house. They're ugly as sin. So
yeah.
Are all the windows original though?
Some of them are original and some of them aren't, and some of
Mhm.
them are odd, really odd ducks, strange shapes, and unusual configurations for the light patterns. So,
Hmm.
yeah.
All right. Yeah, I'm not. We all have our different strengths on the commission. Windows is not one of mine.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping it's somebody else's and they're flagging anything that needs to be flagged. But so far, so good.
Well, not that I'm a total window expert, but it looks to me like it's a supplier that we're not familiar with that we probably should be.
Should be.
Yeah.
It looks
It's
pretty
true.
cool.
Is there a
I
new
work
company?
I work with them on historic developments like mill buildings and stuff like that
Oh,
Oh.
wow.
in my day job. So
Are they out of Massachusetts?
yes, they are. Yep.
Huh.
So it said Pennsylvania on the
The
tear.
windows are from there. Yeah, they're just a supply house.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Well, we'll have to look into that.
I can send you some contact information.
Sure. I mean, the office does kind of like to keep track of some resources when people are desperate.
I was happy
Sure.
to find them through Jonathan, and I was just like, these are great because it's just hard to find any good options. Yeah.
That's terrific. Thank you. Any other questions from the commissioners?
No,
No?
Could I bring up one thing? I'm sorry once again that I was late. Little
Oh,
family
sure.
emergency.
No problem.
The heat pumps, they're both going to be behind the house. Did we talk about that?
Yes,
Yes.
we mentioned
We
that.
did. Okay,
Mhm.
okay. I'm sorry. Once again, my fault.
No, that's all right.
I
No,
was
and
late.
Peter
Forgive
showed
me,
us
please.
their little fence and where they're going to be. But
I think
thank
it'd be
you.
worth, it's okay.
I've
Sorry,
been
I'm
kind of
jumping in.
behind the ball, but Peter's going to keep it in line. So, okay, we're good.
I think it'd be good just to get the correct heat pump location on a revised plan as
Absolutely.
administrative. So we have them shown on the backside and not on the corner.
Absolutely.
And
Thank
showing the fencing in that position then.
Yeah.
Yes. I can send that to later this week.
Great.
Yeah, because I think, like Tim said, given the relatively light touch here, I'm not seeing if this I don't think this necessitates a site visit, but if another commissioner does, I'm okay with that.
How about this, Kate? I'm cool.
I don't see the
think
need.
site visits called for.
You don't think
Yep.
so? I don't think so.
No,
Good.
Seems
Okay.
straightforward.
What, Kristen?
It seems straightforward.
Yeah. All right. I will open it up to public comment. See if there are any neighbors or butters for 242 Lexington. If anyone outside of the commission would like to ask a question or make a comment, this is your time. All right. Well, I guess not. I think we could maybe move on this if someone's willing to make a motion.
I move that we approve 242 Lexington Road as submitted, noting that the two heat pumps will be correctly redrawn and correctly shown at the rear of the house with the associated screening.
And paint chips approved?
Thank you. And approval of paint chips administratively.
Okay. A second, please.
I'll second.
Thank you. And I'll go around for a vote. Kristen? Can you hear me?
Aye.
Oh, thanks. Walter?
Aye.
Bill?
All right.
Tim?
Aye.
And I am an aye. So thank you. We've approved the updating plan here for 242 Lexington with just a couple of minor office details noted by Tim. So thank you
Thank you
Right.
very much.
for the straightforward presentation. Thanks. Okay.
Thank you very much. All right.
Thank you so much, guys.
Good luck
Okay.
with the new baby.
Yeah, we have 2 in 1 year, so our Irish twins.
Wow.
Okay.
Getting kind of crazy.
Good time to revise a house.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah, I need to get this house done. I mean, we had the baby like a week ago. My wife's like, you need to stop going to that house. But okay, all right. Thanks
Thank you.
again.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Okay. All right, this is great. 740, super. Thanks, commissioners. All right, moving on to the Black Heritage Trail project. Thanks to everyone who came out this morning for the site visit, and extra thanks to the supporters who helped Joe Palumbo display the assortment of signs very deftly, Nikki Turpin and Michael Williams, and I don't know if anyone else helped. So let's see. Mimi, of course, you are welcome to address the commission yet again, but you don't have to. We can, if you've got nothing new to tell us, we can go right into a discussion about what we saw today to keep things moving, but it's up to you.
Oh, what I thought it might be helpful to I did a kind of simple slideshow just to kind of walk us through kind of the things that need to be agreed to. So
Great, no, that's super.
right there talking. So let me shoot if I can get permission to share my screen. Looks like I've got
Oh yeah, Heather
that.
Carey is helping us today, right?
Okay. Back. So in terms of my understanding that some of the consensus we have so far, one is that the signs themselves, just in concept, are historically appropriate, just kind of to have signs in the historic districts. The other one is about the vertical orientation, about the signs being upright. The other one is the material of the dye bond with the digital print. That were all in consensus around the colors and the fonts, and using these illustrations with that sort of engraved look, and then similar, having the logos along the bottom of the sign. So, if you're okay with this, Kate, maybe sort of, I just want to make sure that my understanding is that we're in consensus with all those, and just want to make sure that that is true for the group as a whole.
Yes, I mean, yeah, these are big departures for the historic district, but yes, we are moving with you.
There was one topic, which was the quality of the mounting.
I'm coming on to that, the
You're
next slide.
coming on to
Okay.
that. Great. Thank you.
Good.
So I'm going on where we do have them.
And
And then,
then before we move on, I will just say that I am yet to be convinced that they are historically appropriate. So no one has asked that question before. It's an assumption, but
Let's
I'm
move
not
on.
sure. Yeah, I'm not sure there's consensus entirely.
so, but this is, I guess I'm putting in here about signs themselves. The HTC regularly approves signs in the
But if you're
historic
talking
district
just
as an
about
entity.
signs, sure. Well, we have signs in the historic district.
Yeah. So I'm trying to
Okay.
find our common ground.
I'm saying there throughout the presentation, there have been a lot of assumptions made, and they're not always based on having polled everyone. That's what I'm saying.
Well,
Let's move on.
So yes, there are
There's a
some
lot to
in the
come.
historic district. That's fine.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. So we do have consensus on this, which I'm glad to see. The next one is about the mounting. So we had initially proposed a 4x4 pressure treated wooden post, and just reiterate or kind of amending that slightly based on some of the feedback is to make it clear that that would be stained a dark brown to kind of match the kind of dark brown color that's in the existing signs, and that we would have the mounting that Ed Maloof, our designer, had recommended that would be on the back of the sign, so it would not be visible from the front of the sign. So I wanted to see if that is something that the HDC is amenable to.
Yes.
Yes, I mean, that's right. That's the only thing we've seen. And it seems pretty sensible.
Okay, great. So we're on a roll. So the next one is we have 7 sites that we're looking at.
Excuse me, Mimi, I'm sorry to interrupt. Just a quick question. The back of the signs, the color of the back of the signs, again,
We were going to match the sort of background color, which in the final print is going to have, so it's going to be that kind of cream color, and it will have like a little bit of a texture to it, not like a 3D texture, but just like a slightly modeling of it, just so it won't show any imperfections of the printing too much, just to dull so it won't be a pure white, it'll just be a duller color, so it won't have the same kind of glare from the reverse side.
thank you.
So we are proposing 7 locations. I do recognize one that's at the Hill Burying Ground will require an additional review by the Cemetery Committee. And it's my understanding that the HDC would defer to the Cemetery Committee for that one. And then there is the one in front of Holy Family Parish that I had the incorrect original address. So I was just given confirmation that with the announcements to the abutters that would come before the HDC for their hearing on July 29th. But kind of just to confirm that we are kind of looking at those 7 locations.
Yes.
That in theory are okay. All right, great. All right, so then the next one is about the term. So I had started this by proposing that there was going to be 5-year term agreements with the different property stewards. So that would be with the private property owners, with the cemetery committee, outside of the HDC's purview, which would also be with the natural resources for the 2 sites under their purview. And then there would be those that would be on town property. And that agreement is authorized by the select board. So they are the kind of the authorizing agent in that way. And each of the agreements that I've drafted, that the private property owners have agreed to, and then the select board again has to approve, would have the provision that they could be removed at any time for any reason by either the property steward or the select board, with 60 days notice. And then if both entities agree, they could be removed more quickly. So for example, if they were damaged, if we found that the content was incorrect and it needed to be changed, but if the property owner basically is like, I'm done with this having a sign here at all, or it blocks traffic light, well, for any reason at all, it could be removed. And any entity could go before the select board and ask them on their behalf ask the select board to use their authority to remove them. So wanted to see kind of what's the HDC's sense of that?
That one is a bit of a stretch. We typically don't have 5-year terms for things. They're either permanent or up to 2 years. But that's, one we can discuss.
So with that one, since basically as a town staff person putting this forward, it's really it's kind of in the hands of the select board. And they are the ones that are overseeing it town-wide. And I recognize that for the HTC, that 5 years is sort of the equivalent of forever. Like one of the folks have sort of felt like that becomes part of the permanent landscape. So my thought would be a little bit, because it does allow for the HDC to petition the select board to have it removed sooner, that if the HDC says, that they wanted to remove it sooner, that could be something that would be in the hands of the select board to advance. It's sort of like outside of my hands, outside of the HDC's, like they're the official entity in that case.
So maybe when you say that it is authorized by the select board, have they voted and said that that's what they're accepting and proposing?
So far they've only approved this project provisionally. Sort of this public art process.
So the select board, I'm sorry to interrupt, but so the select board has not authorized 5 years.
No, they haven't. But they are the ones that authorized the town manager. So my thing is that they are the ones that authorize this project overall.
That would authorize the project over.
Right.
But they have not authorized it yet, and they have not authorized 5 years.
They gave preliminary authorization.
Okay.
And we haven't got secondary authorization.
Crossing T's and dotting I's.
Right.
Says
So we did step 1. We still have to do step 2.
It doesn't say provisionally. It says authorized. That's what I'm asking. Okay.
Yeah, and that's really kind of up to them to have the say.
Okay.
Do we want to talk about this anymore?
No, I think we can talk about this when the commissioners talk. So if you want to continue, that would be great.
All right. So the 7 sizes that we looked at today were the 18 by 60, the 16 by 60, the 16 by 53.3, the 14 by 60, 14 by 5. You can see them all on the screen. So maybe it might be helpful. I know that there's some that for our purposes are kind of off the table. I think that from our purposes, and part of the conversation to have with you all is, to our eye, the 18 by 60 still sort of seems like the right size, and that some of the smaller ones do lose legibility, but don't make a meaningful difference in the landscape. So are kind of interested in hearing from what you all saw today when we were kind of just looking at all the iterations.
I think that perhaps at the other end of the angle, considering that we usually try to look for things that sit kind of more lightly on the historic district landscape, that I felt that the 12 by 40 achieved that it was, you could tell that there was, a person from across the street, that there was a sign here with information and that it pulled you toward it, but it sat, I felt, quite lightly where it was. But I was not the only commissioner there today. There were some others.
I agree. I think the smaller size is visible from across the street. None of the signs were actually legible from across the street, but they all were legible from the sidewalk. And the smaller one actually had the effect of pulling you in off the sidewalk and just taking a moment to actually read the content and understand the context of this person, how they interacted with the building.
And we're back again to the last meeting, the question about whether we were trying to, whether you were trying to make these legible / readable from a car or from a sidewalk. And I thought it had been pretty well established you were shooting for sidewalk, but then again, I could be wrong.
All right, you know what though? How about Mimi, you continue with this recap because it's helping us sort of flag what we'll talk about as a commission.
So these are the two that are the 12 by 40 and 12 by 60. I think from our team's sense is that this wasn't the way to go. One, just by the 12-inch on a 4x4 pole ends up, it looks pretty spindly even in this image. So we sort of felt like it didn't have that sort of presence that we were looking for.
I think another point would be we asked someone who does sign design for a living, and his recommendation based on his work as a professional were the larger sizes. So I think that has to be factored in there as well. None of us are sign experts, but the sign expert says to go with the more appropriate size.
Does the sign expert put these signs in historic districts as part of his job too?
Yes.
Yeah, so he had initially proposed 24 inches. And because I have spent so much time with all of you, I knew that that was a no-go. Internally, we brought it down to 20. Then we brought it down to 18. I feel like our designer recommended not going below 18. We're thinking to go down to 16. But anything smaller than that, we feel like it doesn't make a big difference on the landscape, but it does make a difference on the legibility.
Well, if I may, your designer was talking about making them legible from cars, right? Or
No.
That was, no.
Right, but it was clear
He
these aren't legible from a car. He wanted them to be that you could still see them, but these are meant to be for pedestrians, that they're meant to be eye level when you're standing next to it.
Yeah, we can move on.
Okay, so thank you for pulling up those images. Would you like to continue with the rest of your slides?
Basically, these are just sort of the mock pictures of what they look, the signs on site in the different sizes. So that I sent those to Anne. I don't know if you all got them from last
We
week.
did, and actually she posted them on the public site, so they were very handy.
I don't know if it's helpful to keep them up for our conversation, or I can take them down, up and down as we talk.
Do you have other slides to put up, or is this?
So this feels like this is the big outstanding issue for us to figure out.
Okay. All right. So thank you. Now I'm going to, as we normally do, then just have the commissioners talk about what they saw, what Mimi just reminded us of, and directions that we think are appropriate to go in for the districts.
I guess I'll start. I think maybe my point of departure is that I think you guys have innovated a display approach for history that is creative and very nicely executed. As a result, I suspect that other people with other historic themes will want to follow suit. So I think an important consideration for us as a commission is setting a precedent that says if in 5 years we have, I'll make up a number, 3 times as many signs and 2 other historic themes, women in history and Concord, whatever, that we want to establish a precedent that strikes the right balance between the visual impact with the overall load of signs in the district. So that's kind of my point of departure. And I slightly different view perhaps than Kate. I think the 12 inches is spindly, with the possible exception of the site across the street from the library, which is a different site, if you will, geometrically from the rest. And I find the 16-inch width, in my mind, the right compromise. It's just as legible from the sidewalk as the larger sizes. So that would be my view.
And Bill, thoughts on duration? You know,
I
we
think
don't have a, I mean,
no,
we,
no,
we
I think we should treat these as permanent additions. I think getting into a term, we have in the regulations, we have temporary signs and we have permanent signs. And the temporary signs are generally defined as a year. So everything over a year is permanent. So I don't think we should be in the business of arbitrating 5 years, 3 years.
we do 2 years. I mean, that's what the library's got with their arch.
More
The two.
That's fair.
I mean, just as a point of reference. So okay, Kristen. Oh,
I think
hold on, you froze.
as
You froze.
beautiful as the signs are,
Kristen, we lost you for a bit.
Lost you. Can you start from the beginning?
so as beautiful as these signs are, I think they're an experiment in very historic places. From the beginning, I've been concerned about how they dominate the landscape, obstruct views to the buildings. And with that in mind, I think consider them temporary and see what options come about.
I forgot to mention something at the beginning because of it, which I was supposed to read at the beginning. As happens sometimes, an absent commissioner has sent a brief letter to the commission to be read. This is Louis Caldarella, who sent it to Senior Planner Ann Clifford to read aloud, and which I'm doing in her stead because she's away. So here it is. Hi, Anne. I won't be able to be at the next site visit nor meeting as I'll be in the UK with John's family. I am particularly disappointed not to be able to see the various signs in proportional widths and lengths, displayed perhaps at different angles in situ. I was under the impression that that was the point of the first site meeting. I think it's important to see this project as a comprehensive trail marker system of at least 11 signs and to consider the impact of all of these signs collectively. For the record, I am comfortable approving pictorial signs for the first time in the historic district. I am comfortable approving modern metal graphically printed signs in the historic district. Also, I believe a major precedent. While I could imagine supporting perhaps one single size in the proposed 18 by 60 format, I'm not willing to support a complete set of trail markers at that size. I do, however, feel confident that the HDC and all of the other concerned and invested parties can find a sign solution that clearly and accurately conveys the historical information, allows intimate and engaged viewing for people of all ages, and most importantly, can be comprehensively spread across the entire district, connecting relevant sites in a cohesive trail. While I regret being away for the second site visit, I urge all viewers to be open-minded about looking at different proportional sizes and angles in the landscape and to come to a consensus that aligns with all of our goals. Perhaps I am overly optimistic, but I'm hoping we will all know it when we see it. I don't think there's an HDC in the country that actively seeks visibility and major impact on the landscape, but I think we can layer new, important, and unsung additional historical voices harmoniously with the layers already there. Please post and share with all invested in the success of this project. Thanks, Louis. So this will get posted to the site, but that's how we do it. So that is Louis, just for the record.
And that brings up that I was also thinking about that so much the impact on the landscape can be adjusted based on position on the site, angle, if it's at a 45-degree angle or a 30-degree angle, it will change visibility.
Right.
Yeah,
And that's something to be discussed.
it's not one of the options we have before us.
Yeah. Okay, let's see. Tim, any comments?
Yeah, it's a very tough project. When I look at the 12 by 40, this is again with all due respect to the applicant and all the people who've been working so hard on this. So bear with me, but I like the size of the 12 by 40 because they're legible up close, they're identifiable from a distance. They look handsome to me, and I just could never live with an 18 by and vote for an 18 by 60. But the part that trips me up is this question of temporary. And as Kate said, I don't think we've ever approved a temporary exhibit for longer than 2 years. But when I think temporary, I think that the point of temporary installations is to be seen, art installations, whatever. So there's this, and I don't think we've ever been faced with this thing where a sign wants to be by, many people in town, and the applicant wants to be seen and not want to be seen. Usually we're working to make signs quieter and still work. But this is a different deal. This is a celebration, if you will. So it comes down to the timeline for me. I'm willing to go bigger depending on the timeline and treating it as a temporary exhibit. I do want these to be celebratory signs. And when I look at the 12-inch, I see permanent. This is from my eyes. These are permanent, subtle, quiet. I know it's not the applicant's desire, but I think they're very handsome at 12-inch. But when I think about how they've been presented and the emotion and enthusiasm behind it, there's a part of me that wants to make them bigger because they're a temporary installation. So then we've got into this I don't know how the 5-year timeline came up, but I'm amenable to increasing the width. I personally think as a temporary installation, 12 inches skimpy, but I'd be amenable to a 14-inch. If we could discuss timeline that's maybe a bit shorter, so that we're treating it as a special exhibit, because Bill's point of precedent is, I know this is probably something that the applicant says, perhaps this is not our problem. It is our problem as the HTC. We face this practically on every single meeting where somebody's saying, well, you let them do it. As important as this project is, this could come back to bite us. So I guess if we're truly voting on a permanent installation, I would vote for the 12. If we shorten it to a timeline that's a bit less, then I'm more flexible, because this is an installation that's celebratory for several years, a few years. We need to determine that. And it makes a bigger impact, because that's the point of temporary signage. And I also want to just, again, if you will, defend the HTC in our efforts is we are being stretched even with the 12-inch. It may not seem that way, but we want to make this happen. We are not against this project. And so, anyway, I don't want to start repeating myself here, but that's, I'd like to discuss the timeline relative to width if other commissioners are amenable to that.
If I could just jump in a little bit in terms of the term, I think from our perspective, by the time, even if the HTC approves for tonight, these most likely won't get in the ground until October. And that means we'll have been working for 15 months on this project. And it's supposed to, the funding was for a capital grant, not for a programmatic grant. So part of the, where we came up with that 5-year timeline was, that's the same amount of time that's more time than for the benches. And those had a 3-year term. The 250.
Sorry, Mimi, I missed. Could you just repeat that? I just missed more time than something.
And so I'm sort of doing the calculation of how much time we're investing to have the signs installed relative to the amount of time that they might be in place.
Okay.
So if basically we're looking at, less than, like the ratio of 15 months to get them installed, and it's only 2 years that they might be in place, recognizing that once they're in place, then we have programmatic things to put in place to actually have them usable. A short timeline doesn't meet our needs in terms of like the whole rationale for doing it and the cost benefit kind of, if you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, it's got to be like worth your, get the bang for your buck, so to speak.
Yeah, exactly. And just the amount of investment of like the additional ones for these individual property stewards. It's like a big investment. So if it's the shorter term is not kind of what we're looking for. And it feels, it came up in some of our conversations on the planners that it felt like to kind of allow the term for the benches and the term for the signs, that they should at least get the same amount of time. In terms of like, it just felt kind of inherently unfair to have a shorter term.
Benches were 3 years?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. That was helpful. So then that would,
So Tim, when you said you'd go for a larger size, what larger size would you go for?
The 14 by 53, whatever the 14 by shorter version of not the 14 by 60. I find them just as impactful, even if they're shorter. That's my visual take on them.
Heather, if you can give me back the sharing permissions, I can show the 14 by 46.5.
Oh. Why can't I get the?
Did I lose everybody?
no,
No,
We can see it.
We see 14 by 46.5. That's what you're trying to put up, right?
14 by 60. Yeah, they're both
Yeah,
up.
so
thank you.
yeah, Tim had just said that the 14 width was what he'd prefer.
No, he said that's what he would accept. If it
Yeah,
were.
I would prefer the 12, but again, I'm just suggesting we all need to negotiate.
Well, then, Tim, what would you think about the 14 by 46 length of time? After what sort of maybe kind of,
Well,
Yeah.
Maybe I'm not sure I totally followed you on the timeline. I apologize. But are we talking
The
about
bench has got 3 years, is what Mimi was saying.
a 3-year, a
Mhm.
3-year installation with 1-year reviews, which are usually rubber stamp 1-year reviews?
I guess I feel like I've spent a lot of time with you all. I love you deeply at this stage, but I prefer to not come back every year for them to stay in place.
Right.
With 1-year reviews, that the HDC could go to the select board and have them removed at any time, even in, month to month.
Amy, are you suggesting 3 years but no HDC review? Is that correct?
I'm suggesting 3 years, and the HDC can review it whenever they like, and they could go to just request the select board if they choose to have them removed.
That's fine by me. I'm just speaking for myself.
Again, that's not precedent at all for.
Oh, Walter.
Oh, I'm sorry, who said, oh, Walter?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
I think one thing that has been kicked around before and that I've heard from some people about is moving toward a permanent. I mean, is that sort of in the cards down the road, a permanent, cohesive, through town structure for the Heritage Trail that would dovetail with the I think it's the select board, at least one select board member in the Concord Historical Commission, who have seen out of this experience that we've been having that the town really needs to have a plan for historic markers and signage in the district. So there's not all this confusion going forward, and that hopefully paves the way for, when there is kind of more money and more resources and everything else to
Well, I think
institutionalize things.
I would be clear. I don't think there's any confusion. There's no confusion about signage. Concord's done a beautiful job at not having one image of a person of color anywhere in the town. This is because that's so clear. That's why we're doing this as almost like a beachhead. Like, just let's get something in there temporary that's beautiful so people can see the importance and the value. And it may turn into all those beautiful things, but we don't know that. But we've got to start somewhere. So it's not confusion, it's getting a start.
No, I understand what you're saying, getting a start about, sort of the aim of the project, but
It's not just the aim of the project, it's essential to who we are as a community. If you are a person of color, you are currently not visible in the landscape. This will change that.
I think also we deliberately made these signs that we're recognizing this is evolving scholarship, that they are easy to amend. We didn't go with a lot of other communities have created permanent markers. These signs in and of themselves are not permanent markers. We said specifically that they are not meant to be long-term. So while we've been only talking about 5 years as a max for the term, for them not to be forever, maybe they will evolve into something, but we are not moving. This proposal is not about however people might respond in the future.
Oh, right. No, I knew that you were clear
So it's
about
very
that.
temporary.
That's what- You were clear about that with
Get
this
it
one,
started.
but I mean, sort of looking ahead in a good way.
Yeah, maybe that's not how you introduced this, though. You asked for 5 years, subject to automatic renewal every year. So you just told us that you were looking at 5 year.
So the terms are 5 years, and then again, they could be even shorter.
But if your initial presentation to us was 5 years and then automatic renewal beyond that.
Maybe don't.
Well, it's germane.
Walter, you're being very aggressive to me. I mean, you did that last time. So if we could be more supportive in how we talk about this, it would be helpful.
No, I'm not trying to be aggressive, but I'm trying to
just giving you feedback.
Well, I understand that. It's not that I'm trying to be aggressive. I just want things to be clear, and that's not how it was presented. And if nobody grinds everything to a halt, the assumption is that whatever the last thing was that was said is the way that it is, and it's not necessarily. I'm not trying to be aggressive. I'm not trying to be nasty about this, but I am confronted constantly through this entire process of presentations with things that are being made, assumptions that are being made, and with conflicting, asks and conflicting claims about what is being asked constantly. I'd like it, to be clear what it is, and not to have to second guess everything.
Okay. So on the terms, I recognize that, like, for example, with Freedom Silhouette, the art benches that were off of Monument Square, originally they were meant to be for a 6-month term. And the only counter on that term was going back before the HDC for their approval. Folks really liked the benches and they were in good shape. So I came back repeatedly, recognizing we don't know what's going to happen in 5 years. And so that I don't have to redo, 11 different agreements. It did have it for an automatic renewal in the hopes that people might like them. But it did sort of set that intention, recognizing that these are not permanent.
Talking about the sign.
Okay.
Make it-
Yeah.
But I do appreciate the clarification of that. You're right, that it would
Yeah.
allow for more than 5 years.
If you can see my face with a smile, yes, but that's what you just said again is 5 years and not having to come back automatically, which is different than what you were just saying just before. That's all. Just saying.
Okay. All right. Thank you for both of you for clarifying. I'm going to just move things on a little bit for hashing out. If all commissioners have had something to say for now,
I actually I haven't, if I may.
haven't what?
I haven't had some.
You've had.
I haven't had something to say in the context of the question that was being asked here.
Okay. You mean your own?
Well, what is it that you wish to move on to?
Well, I was just going to open it up to public comment for a bit, and then we can come back and talk about our action.
Okay, well, I do want to say a couple of things
Okay.
for that, if I may. And one is about precedent, which is precedent matters an awful lot here. And even to the point where, Mimi, you were citing benches as precedent, right? So if you cite the bench duration as precedent, and then as a means to establish a longer time period for these signs, which then becomes precedent for whatever comes after that, again, right? And the precedent is being cited about the unfortunate best of British thing over which we have absolutely no jurisdiction, but that was being floated as precedent. You allowed that to happen. Whatever we allow to happen becomes precedent. It's really that simple. But then it's whatever the next decision is that we're being asked to make will be based or argued based on that precedent, and it leapfrogs. And the argument right now is leapfrogging that way. And I would say nobody has asked me. I feel like I'm being set up as the bad guy here. I would love. How's this? And maybe this goes to you, Joe. I would love for there to be a permanent installation that conveys all this. That's a question that nobody has asked. I think that the proposal as it is absolutely the right thing to do. And I think it's absolutely the wrong way to do it. And I think that it's putting these signs, I understand, I've heard your argument for something has to happen. But I think that all the energy that's been put into this over the course of the last year could have been put into a project that established, and again, I'm a fan of establishing a signage standard for Concord, where all these disparate elements of our history can be woven together, and rather than separate it out and go, oh, here's this, here's this, here's this. I would think that what we were trying to do, and then I'll stop on this, is exactly knit together that unity. And from the very beginning here, as I said, I feel like I'm set up as the bad guy. The presentation has been confrontational, as far as I'm concerned. And it doesn't have to be, it shouldn't be. So, I would not be in favor of any of these signs, because I think there's a much better way. I think we're all smarter than this. And it seems to me graphically beautiful. Sure, wonderful graphics, but not wonderful graphics to go in the historic district, which also is part of a national historic corridor. It's part of Battle Road, goes right through there, right? So we need to be mindful as commissioners, I think, not just of our blocking me out, not just of our responsibility to this particular historic district in Concord, but also to the greater picture. Anyway, there you go.
Okay, thank you for clarifying where we come from to some extent. I'm going to open it up to public comment. I will ask that I would start with people who haven't spoken before or who haven't written letters before, just so we're able to get to people we haven't heard from yet, so we can also kind of keep things moving. And I see Mary Hartman.
Thank
You
you.
are on mute. Hi there.
I'm unmuted. Great. Thank you, Kate. I really appreciate that. My name is Mary Hartman. I live on 16 Concord Green. I am the Select Board Liaison to the Historic District Commission. I have 2 points I'd like to make. One is that we talked about the possibility of creating a committee or a task force to put together some kind of cohesive signage strategy across town. And that is something that we have talked about, but I have to be clear, the Select Board has made no commitment to doing that in the short term. So that is not something that I think we can wait for in order to make a decision on what you have in front of you tonight. And the other thing that I would like to also say is that the Select Board did talk about this at our last Select Board meeting. Kate, I think you were in the audience as well. And I would say that the consensus of the Select Board is that we are really hopeful that we can come to a compromise. This is important to many people in the town. I know the HDC does a very careful job. They do great work. They want to be careful. But their goal is to educate. This is an opportunity to educate, expand our understanding of our history. The Select Board really wants a compromise and to move on. And that, I believe, is what you heard, Kate, at our meeting. So thank you.
That's what we're trying to do. Thank you, Mary.
Thank you.
Thanks for speaking. Nikki Turpin, you are on mute.
I'm not sure though.
Sorry?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Can you hear me? Yep. Okay, great. I'm in a back row driving. So I just want to comment on Walter's comment, because I think that is what has struck me the most in these 45 minutes of today. The idea that Black history should not stand out because it should be combined and cohesive with other histories that are within town is the biggest slap in the face I've ever verbally heard from a human. My history deserves to stand out because it has not been put into places where it can obviously be seen. In fact, the fact that we're even having this conversation is proof as to why it needs to stand out. The fact that my ancestors birthed a nation, and yet you're telling me we combine it in because it makes other people feel comfortable is problematic. Walter, I feel bad that you feel bad that you're being made to be the bad guy, but I'm asking you that take a moment and step back. And if you want to have precedent, make a precedent. If you want to make a statement and say it wholly with your chest. And this is really to the whole entire committee. Stop dodging the fact. If you were not prepared to say this is the standard we want, be honest about that. That is something people can work with. But to consistently hear for the last 5 minutes and more that the size is too big, it needs to be smaller, is a slap in the face to every person of color, every Black person that walks into that town. Every single one of your Metco students is hearing right now in this moment, you're good enough to come to our school, but we want you to leave, and your visual, anything that represents you will not be allowed to be in this space. That is what it is translating into. Whether or not that's your intent, I do not know. But that is the impact of your words tonight that people are hearing. So if you feel like a bad guy, I ask you to sit in that uncomfortable feeling and actually examine what you could do to not be the bad guy, because that is why you are being painted as a bad guy. You are not standing in your truth, and you're not supporting people of color who are just asking to be seen in a place where they have made that space what it is. That shot didn't happen by itself. Concord wants to be revolutionary, and what I'm hearing right now is that it's with the cost of erasing.
Nikki, you still there? Oh, you're muted.
Nope, I'm still here. I am very heartbroken to be in this meeting and to hear a predominantly white group of people say that my history should be smaller. And I just need everybody to sit with that. And it's okay if you're uncomfortable. I know, Christine, that you feel like it needs to be smaller, and maybe that makes you feel happy. But even from the level of someone who wears glasses, don't you think you would want people to visually be able to see without having to worry if they have their readers with them? Because I know that that's how I feel. If someone is sitting in a wheelchair, I want them to have access to that sign. Making it smaller does not give that access. When we're talking about inclusivity, it's not just people of color, it's not LGBT only. It's all of the things that make things accessible. The reason why we cannot be bigger than Colonial Williamsburg, the reason why we can't even get Black people to come in like the Berkshires is sitting in this group on this committee. It's the fear of doing the thing and not taking action and using your voice and your whiteness for good. And I'm just asking people to sit with that, because there's nothing that I can say that's going to make you do this, because I know, I can tell from the faces, I can tell from the body language, you're not going to approve it because it's not going to fit the narrative that you want. But you will have to sit with that and own that. And this is what will be put into the books going forward. I'm done speaking.
Thank you very much for speaking up and speaking out. Thank you. I appreciate that. All right, we just have one more question. Mark Galis.
Thank you very much. Yes, I'm very sympathetic with what was just said. I think it comes across that this is yet another example of suppressing history rather than promoting it. I want to make a number of points. One is I was at both site visits, and I think that the larger widths, but in any rate, whatever width, the full height of 60 inches is important because I think it's much more aesthetic and complementary to the buildings with the full 60-inch height that covers the post below. I don't like seeing the post below, and I do think that the 18-inch width fits wonderfully with the landscape and enhances the buildings. In front of the Masonic temple that used to be a school and things like that, and townhouse, I think it strongly enhances the buildings. I also want to make a couple more points. The act that established the Concord Historic Districts said the purpose is to promote educational, cultural, economic, and general welfare of the public. It does talk about preservation of buildings, but this doesn't alter buildings. There's no change to buildings proposed. Also, it says that the maintenance of appropriate settings for said buildings. And I think historic markers are important for maintaining they're highly appropriate for these settings. They enhance the buildings, they enhance the sites, they enhance the even justification for having a historic district or a historic district commission. Without history, what are you trying to do? The other thing I would say is that I'm not sure that the district by its own actual guidelines has authority over historic markers. It has authority over things that advertise or direct. If you look at the wording, it says nothing about historic markers. Did the commission yearly review the 1930s inappropriate, offensive sign that was in Monument Square, saying that the land was bought from the Indians? Did you review this every year? Did you suggest that it be taken down? How can you object to this, which is up to latest scholarship and firmly supports the significance of of Concord and educates the public as the Historic Districts Act is purposed? Thank you.
Thank you very much. I will, so I can get back to the commission so we can deliberate. We'll take two more speakers, Liz Rust and Tui Rogers.
Yes, hi. Thank you for calling on me, and thank you for all your deliberations, and thank you to everyone who has spoken. First, I just want to say again that how disappointed I am about missing the grant opportunity. So I just think that we want to just lift that up here. I know we're in a go forward mode, but all the work that's been done, the incredible amounts of different sign options that have been presented, I find just amazing, and really an excessive use of resources to have gone through all that and to be there. Now, I wear readers. So to Nikki's point, when I was on the site walk, I can't see those smaller signs. And I don't feel drawn in when I have to go so close as to read them. I appreciate that they're big enough to read from a little bit further away. I think that that's really an important experience for me in that. And then I want to just remind, these are temporary signs, and you can take them down anytime. As Joe said, that this has been set up So to not create a permanent precedent and all that, just to make some steps to go forward. And I think that you have very little risk, if anything, to approve this, to take a step forward and to show progress. To not show progress tonight, I think would be a concern for me as a Concord resident and a very active, civic-minded Concord resident. Thank you for hearing my comments.
Thank you for sharing them. Thank you. Tui, may we go to you next?
Yes, thank you. And thank you again to the HDC for all the work you've done to try to preserve our history, and likewise to the Black Trails History Advisory Board for really trying to work this out and bring something new to our town. And I agree with Walter about Preston. It really is, Walter, all about Preston. And if you look at the precedent of where we are, the precedent right now exists with no black faces. The precedent we have that we're working off of is no black faces. Everybody on this committee is intelligent enough to know that the status quo is stacked against everybody but people that look like Walter and me, including you, Kate. It's stacked against women. And that's just the precedent we're living in. So to break free of this existing precedent, we really have to set new precedent. And I think that's what this is all about. And the signs need to look good. And I think the other really important thing to remember here is that nothing happens in a vacuum. You are really working hard to try to preserve the history of Concord as it has been all throughout history, which is what we've seen. And there's a dual construct or context that must be considered. One is the school committee vote against Ellen Garrison at a time when the town voted for it. The Anti-Defamation League complaint against our schools. Concord's beginning to get, it feels like, I'm concerned, getting a reputation for something we don't want to have a reputation for. And in addition to that context, there's the national one we're living with, which I don't think anybody on this Zoom has experienced in their lifetime, which is we have a president who is pulling down Black history and Native American history from our national parks, our national monuments, changing the history of slavery in our textbooks for public school students, delaying promotions and firing African Americans in our military and civil service, and just recently criticizing the Smithsonian Institution for including, quote, un-American African and Native American history in its exhibits. This is unprecedented. We've done so much work, and it feels like we're sliding backwards. African Americans are under fire yet again in America. I think we all know this. We can't be not seeing this. So we're not just dealing with this narrow focus in Concord. We've got a dual context that we're dealing with. And I think that Kate, you had mentioned that this is an unprecedented issue and you wish you could make an unprecedented decision. And I just would say to you, you're right and you're on the hot seat, but I think you can make that decision. And sort of in closing, I want to sort of quote Nina Simone from her 64 anthem, Mississippi Goddamn. Why don't you see it? Why don't you feel it? Thank you.
Thank you, Tui. I appreciate that. All right. I'll do one more because Peter Lee, I know you were at the site visit today. So
okay,
please,
thank
you
you.
have your hand.
Thanks very much.
Sure.
I feel very conflicted about this in the long term. In the short term, I think it's amazing this group has done this in 6-7 months. Just amazing. It's an educational display. It's a great display. The other side of me says, as a permanent marker, these are not permanent markers. There should be, but these are not it. I think that this group or a bigger group should work in the next few years to create a really outstanding permanent marker that could go into the ground in concrete and be there for a long time. Should it be 1 year, 2 years, 5 years as a temporary educational display? Up to you. But I want to point out that what Mimi said, that it's okay because the select board can take it down upon petition by the HDC or by anybody. That's a true statement for anything we do in town. I could petition the select board to take down the road sign at Monument Square, the sign Monument Street. If a commission decides that, HDC says there are certain signs that portray Native Americans in a bad light, which is true. I think there are some. And ask the select board, they could vote on it and take it down. So I think what Mimi is saying does not change the precedent setting function you have, which is you permit the chairs for 3 years with a 1-year automatic review, which means you can veto it after 1 year. Then that's the precedent. If you say we'll permit 3 years with no automatic review, that is the new precedent. And it's not true that you could easily review it in 1 year because you have no such right. Anybody does. So to Tim's comment, well, if we can review it, then maybe 3 years is fine. Well, I think you have to decide. Do you want the right to review? Do you want the right to review the content maybe after 2 years when lots of people, visitors, historians have come and said, well, this is slightly wrong. That picture is not the picture of so-and-so, it's a picture of a different soldier, which I've heard historians say already. They can be improved, they should be improved. This should be a continuing project. This group should continue. But I think that as a temporary sign, you need to be careful how you do it. And I do hope that you approve something today as a temporary sign and that you keep your toes in there to review it at some period that you think makes sense for the long term for Concord. This other project to have coherence in all signs, it may or may not happen. So whatever. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, I should say that when I mentioned, the town wants a cohesive sign, that's not in place of this project now. It's something that, I hope the whole town works toward. And, this project would be, the first to move the ball down the field. But, okay, back to the commissioners. Kristen, you're back on. You got dropped.
Yes, I'm on my phone now.
Okay, all right. Thanks. Sorry about that. So let's see. Who do we have here? Okay, wait a minute. What happened? Where'd everybody go? Okay. All right, great. Commissioners, any thoughts? We need a motion. We want some action.
Well, so when we were at the site walkthrough, I was getting the tone from Joe, and Joe, correct me if I'm misrepresenting you, that there was potential for negotiation from your side on size. If I didn't hear that correctly, forgive me, but that's what I was hearing. I'm trying to find a middle ground here that both of us compromise to a size. That would be my proposal.
Well, Tim, you had said that you would be comfortable.
So I'm comfortable with a 14-inch. I want to hear what other commissioners think about that, and I'd like to hear, Joe, just where you might be. Could we close this out? We want to close this out tonight. So that's,
you tell me. I mean, the team has talked, Mimi and the team, we've all talked. So when you're ready, we can tell you. But if you need to go first, that's whatever's appropriate.
Well, we only deliberate here, so everything you're hearing, we can't deliberate on the sides.
So
yeah.
I mean, Mimi, do you want me to go ahead from what we talked about as a group? Okay. We know that we prefer 18 by 60. we know that you have said the commission has said various sizes from 12 by 40 to 16 by Kate mentioned 12 by 40. Kristen, I wasn't really sure. Walter didn't like any. Bill, I got 16 by 60. Tim, I think you said 14 by 46. So if we want to like save time, shoot something in the middle. We, as a group, 18 by 60 is our preferred. No one's accepting that. 16 by 60 is our second preferred. No one's accepting that. We'll go down to 16 by 53.3, which seems like a middle spot. You come up a couple of sizes, we come down at least 2 sizes. You come up 2. Actually, you only have to come up 1, Tim, from yours. So 16 by 53.3.
I think that's a good answer.
Which 16 by 53?
Yeah, 16 by 53.3.
With a 3-year time limit?
3-year time limit.
Well, that's up to the select board. You can recommend whatever you want, but my understanding that's up to the select board. The proposal before them was 5. If they choose to listen to you and move it to 3, we can't, that's not out of our control. You can recommend whatever, but unless I'm misunderstanding, that's what I understood from Mimi and the select board. That's up to them, the term.
Joe, sorry, you said 16 by 53.
3, I think it is. Is that right, Mimi?
Yep. What was the 14? What was the length of the 14-inch?
You saw 14 by 60 and you saw 14 by 46.5.
So right now we're looking at the 16 by 53.3.
Right. It's kind of the middle ground. And Bill thinks it's a good idea. It's 2 of us.
And then, Mimi, can we just see the sizes after that?
So this is the, that's the 18 by 60.
Yeah.
That's the 16 by 60 with the 16 by 53.3.
Mm-hmm.
They're the 2 that kind of the step down that we're proposing.
Mm-hmm.
This is the 12 by 40 and the 12 by 60.
Can you show the 14 by
And this is the
40.
14 by 46 and the 14 by 60.
I had preferred the 14 by 46.5.
And Kristen, what is it why does that make a substantive difference to you as opposed to the 16?
It's less dominant. And I fully recognize the importance of the stories that these markers are telling, but these buildings have stories also. And
So Tim, did I answer your question of trying to get to a middle number?
You answered it.
Thank you.
You answered the question. Thank you. Yeah.
We understand compromise is important and we thought we've gone down 4 or 5 iterations. So we'd really like to stay right there and you come up and we'll be done. And you've heard what you've heard tonight. And I think it would be helpful for the community if we could move ahead on this in a positive compromise like this one.
Oh, I think we do too, for sure. It's, I think, still bigger than some of the commissioners were expecting. And, we have been open to compromise all along because in terms of, material, we don't have any metal signs like that in the district. Imagery, compelling though it is, that's a new thing, we move slowly. We're a conservative body, sorry. But, so that's, but
Yeah, I know it's hard. I get it. This is new ground we're breaking for the community. I understand that. And we're just asking you we're trying to help you come out as a strong supporter of this new way of thinking about our community. And we know you want to do it, and I just know it's hard with some of the parameters you have. But if we could make this compromise work, I think we'd all end up in a much better place.
Kate, maybe just the way I'm thinking about it is, let's face it, the difference between 14 and 16 is a personal taste question. And we could argue for 3 years and we'll have different opinions. My bias is, given the eloquently stated context that one of the public commenters made a few ago about the context, I'm inclined to round up personally. I also am inclined, I think, to me, there's value in the novelty of this channel. Let's face it, the old way of doing signage is terrible through the eyes of a modern generation. Look at what the Park Service does. They're innovative, like the proposal here. You don't see the staid, boring signs at our most sensitive national sites. And I think this style, in an acceptable style range, is important to capture next generation of people whose expectations about how they're communicated to are different.
Thank you, Bill.
All right. So would a commissioner like to, I think we've covered this, and we need a motion, or we need to talk about options.
Well,
I think Tim is the guy.
Why me?
Why not?
I'm trying to inject
If
a
not
tiny,
you.
tiny bit of humor.
Isn't there some quote in history about if not us?
Yeah, no, no. And I think Liz Russ has said it twice. These are the word temporary rings in my head. The word precedent, as the way Tui presented it, rings in my head. I think those are very legitimate points. And it's a shakeup, in a good way. So and these are signs. They're not buildings. They're not things that are going to stay up for 100 years. We're not tearing down the monuments in Monument Square. These are quarter-inch thick things. And we're going to be in a different place in 5 years. So hopefully even a better place. So I appreciate their negotiation, because I think this does need to be, hopefully I'm right about this, that the negotiation is a good thing, not a bad thing. And so I would be amenable to that size, knowing it's a temporary sign and knowing it's going to be impactful.
The 14 by 46 size that you
No,
mentioned.
16 by.
No, I'm speaking to the commissioners, please. It's just commissioner deliberation. Thank you.
I was referring to Joe's offer.
16
by 53. Because I think we're getting hung up on we're going to get stuck on the 2 inches and don't know how to get beyond that.
So that size with a recommendation to the select board on 3 years?
Well,
Yes.
We'd recommend the select board with 3 years, but
I would agree to that.
You would agree to that?
Yeah.
Where's Walter?
I think we can do much better. I'm probably a no.
Thank you, Walter. So let's see.
Well, I also think, in terms of the size, if we are voting overall for a size, it's very easy for us just to say that we would prefer it to be 14 than 16.
Sorry, Walter, I'm having trouble hearing you.
I was saying, it's very, you asked the question of, how, I forget exactly what it was, how do we get past 16 or whatever. The way to get past 16 is just to make a motion for 14.
Don't go there. We're so close.
Joe.
Let's just do it.
It's only 2 inches, Joe.
Joe, sorry, this is when the commissioners deliberate. Thank you.
I'm trying to help.
Sorry. All All right, so who'd like to make a motion?
Do we know this is going to carry? If we got this right?
I think it is, yeah.
Was that a yes?
Yes.
State or
Yeah. Well,
Well,
I mean, you gotta start somewhere.
yeah, okay. So I make a motion, we approve the signs as submitted, with a stipulation that these signs are 16 by 53 over a 3-year period. And here's a question. I have to stop. The question on final sighting, which I do not think is a big issue, but we'd like to help you cite these, like we did with the benches, Mimi.
I also have a note on that. I spoke about with
Because I think we can help make them more prominent, or
wait, Tim.
Yeah, go ahead, Kate.
Sorry to interrupt. From Elizabeth Hughes with regards to citing, to add to the motion, and just for a heads up for Mimi, the town planner, Elizabeth Hughes, stipulates that when it comes to citing, the kind of all, in addition to the HDC sort of being consulted, whatever relevant town agencies need to be involved, if it's sort of traffic, Department of Public Works, in addition to the property owner or dweller, or wherever it is. So just kind of common sense stuff, but to state that in the motion.
Yeah, I'm aware that there's many cooks in this broth.
Yeah.
I am hopeful that the citing can be from the HDC side, as we talked this morning, that could be an administrative review, since I've got many other cooks in terms of the specific sites.
Actually, since we met, so since this morning, Mimi, I asked Elizabeth about that since we met, and so this is her revision to that. She doesn't want it just to be administrative review for the HDC. So it's not adding it sounds probably more like a bigger layer than it is, but it's more just, making sure that, the property stakeholder, Public Works and HDC or whatever are dealing with it.
Well, Public Works is a separate entity. So I will be working with Public Works and the cemetery and the site things. There'll probably be DigSafe. There's like another number of entities that I'm going to have to address.
Yeah.
I was hoping that the HDC would allow for an administrative review rather than having it publicly noticed, coming to another meeting.
Well, you don't need to do that.
Coming back the end of July for
yeah.
12th of Lexington. So I'm hoping that there could be administrative for these specific sites.
Sorry, that was the assumption that I was working from. And she just wanted to spell out, the property owners. But no, it's not an additional set of hearings.
So I'm hearing clearly that the site locations will be only an administrative review by the HDC.
Yep. But no, not only the HDC will be reviewing it.
Right, but I'm just dealing with you all.
Yep.
I'll deal with everybody else separately. But for you all, it's administrative review for the sites.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
The only thing I'd add, Tim, is that the mounting be as described in the tonight's applicant presentation.
Yeah. You want to try it again? Here.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm
Kate and Tim, if I may also, there also need to be 2 separate votes on this, right?
That's correct. Thank you, parliamentarian.
we're going to have to quickly cover the other sites, right?
That's
same.
Just because that was
so this is only for
well, first in order on the agenda.
There's 7A, and this is I make a motion that we approve the signs as presented for 7A and 22 Monument Square, 12 Lexington Road, not 58 Monument Square and 19 Sudbury Road.
Right, and then
I'm not putting 2012 Lexington Road in there.
That's correct.
Right.
Then there's a further question too about where the placement is going to be on 12 Lexington and 19 Sudbury, whether that has been determined to be on town property or private property, right? Do you have an answer?
That's part of the administrative citing.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just pointing out that that's something
Yeah.
that's a question. So.
And approved with the following stipulations that the sign will be reduced to 16 by 53, mounted as it was presented in tonight's hearing, and the final locations on these sites we will be done administratively with the HTC. Does that sound?
I second it.
In participation with other pertinent agencies.
Well, I'm dealing with the HTC. I guess that's Mimi's got a bunch of people she's got to review, right?
I'll
Okay,
second that.
you'll second that?
Isn't it 53.3? Sorry.
I want to get the number right.
Yeah, it's
So-
53.3.
16 by 53.3. Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, I'm going to take a vote. Bill,
Aye.
Walter,
Nay.
Kristen,
Aye.
Tim,
All right.
and I am a nay. So we're 3-2. It passes. So that's, well, well done, everybody. Good work. And we're going to then just nip right into, just before procedure's sake, 54 Walden Street and 169 Main Street. And the only reason these are listed differently on the agenda was just because Mimi needed to get feedback from these two, and it didn't come when the others did. That's the only, I think that's the only distinction. Trail markers on private property, 54 Walden, 169 Main. Do we have a motion for that?
So are we going to be doing the same signs in the same bit?
It's all, I mean, they want all the same
Yes.
signs. Yeah.
I move that do we need to have any public comments on this? Or
Well, we can,
probably should ask.
yes, we should do the pro forma. So I don't think Mimi needs to present again. This is again just an extension of the whole original plan in the districts. And I do not see any questions. And we can go back to the commission. And how about a motion, please?
So I move that we approve 54, the town of Concord, represented by Mimi Graney, at 54 Walden Street and 169 Main Street for historic, for the installation of the Black Heritage Trail markers, submitted tonight with a stipulation that it'll be a 16 by 53.3 inch sign with the mountings as presented tonight, the final location with administrative approval with the HTC.
A second, please.
I'll second.
Thank you, Bill. I'm going to go around for a vote. Kristen
Aye.
and Walter,
Hey.
Bill,
Aye.
Tim,
Aye.
and I am a nay, and this passes 3-2 as well. So the only other bit of housekeeping for this project is what is, I think, the one that we couldn't talk about tonight, 12 Lexington Road. We couldn't talk about it because 12 Lexington Road doesn't exist. It's that had to get filed, and that will come up, and it will, just in the next meeting, and should follow pretty quickly. So, thank you very much, everybody.
Is there no way we can, given that that's a clerical error, remit that administratively?
Has it been
It's
has it been posted?
so it depends on how it was posted, Bill, and I don't know. The clerical error, the only issue with that is because it's the public notice aspect for all this stuff, and so that's actually kind of
Okay,
the
gotcha.
tripwire.
All right.
So if it's already been posted and saying it be reviewed at a meeting, we can't then slide it over into administrative.
Okay.
It's a good point. But and I, yeah, it was I don't do the filing, but that's all I know about that one. All right.
Do you know there's two other business items?
Draft meeting minutes, and that's it. 51 Walden Road.
Right, correct.
So just the one. But first, I just want to say thank you to everybody who participated in the site visits, in speaking up and speaking out, in writing, in persevering and hanging in there. It was, a tremendous amount of work, and but it's really important and it's really good for the town. So
really, and I wanted to say thank you to the Historic District Commission, and it's been a long process, and I've just admired the way that everybody finally searched themselves and stayed the course and respected each other and followed through. So I personally am very thankful for the outcome and the compromise that was achieved. And I think that bodes well for Concord.
Great. Thank you, Maria. That's kind.
Right. You're helping us get to a new place, and we appreciate it.
Good. Thank you. All right. It's now on to minutes, guys. I'm sorry, the applicant's free to go. That has been voted on now. And we've got minutes from 2 regular meetings and 2 site visits way back in April and May. Walter, you've had a chance to look at them?
I assume everyone has had a chance to look at them, as always. For the most part, as presented, there are a couple of minor changes that I would suggest, I guess, as amending this. One was in the piano discussion from April 15th. It reads, to celebrate the conservatory's 20th anniversary in conjunction with Concord's 250th anniversary, which is not Concord's 250th, it is the nation's 250th. And I've given these corrections to staff so they can be changed. There's an insertion of were for clarity. Non-original windows and doors were proposed for in-kind replacement. Manning's application. Following through on that same one, commissioners expressed appreciation for the site visit and the thorough, clear presentation. This is just proofreading. 83 Monument Street, which everyone will remember. Mr. Clay, and I know this well, noted the large size of the proposed addition, which I did, and the existence of unusual 3/4 round corner boards on the building as mentioned in the Macris report for the property. That was something that the applicant had not noticed, but said they would keep. Pagination is off on the entire deal. And then on May 6th, simply changing an A to an AN for reviewed and administrative request to repaint. And other than that, everything seems to be fine to the secretary.
Thank you very much, Walter.
I'll move we approve the minutes with those corrections.
Second for the minutes?
Second.
Thank you. The minutes we can just do all in favor. Aye.
Aye.
Everybody, awesome.
Thank you, Walter.
No.
Thank you, parliamentarian. So yes, Tim, the Steve Newbolt was going to give us an update on 51 Walden Street, but Heather told me what they were doing, but they'll come back. So,
okay.
I don't think we have to. Heather, can you still hear me? I don't think we need to vote on that.
No, it's other business, so it'll just appear when they're ready.
Yeah. Then that is it at 9:07. So thanks very much, everybody, for all your work and for taking care of the historic districts of Concord. So if we could have a motion to adjourn.
I'll move we
Motion we
adjourn.
adjourn.
Okay, and how about a second?
Second.
And everybody, show of hands, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, aye, aye. Okay, thanks everyone.